Hi and welcome to another episode of Patrick Kainz on Law. I'm Patrick Kainz and today I want to talk about immigration law because I'm an immigration law specialist and I want to talk about the general requirements that almost every person needs to fulfill in order to be granted a residence permit or a visa to come and study, live or work in Austria. So when I talk about the general requirements, I mean certain criteria that everybody needs to fulfill in order to be granted a visa. And then depending on what you're doing in Austria, you'll also have to fulfill additional special requirements. So there are different requirements, let's say if you were to come here to study, as opposed to when you're here in order to do your work or you're just living here with your spouse. There are always different special requirements, but the general requirements normally stay the same. So in this video today, I want to focus on travel documents, health insurance, financial means, and housing. So let's get right into it. Travel documents. When I speak of travel documents, of course, I mean a passport. And that is a passport that has been issued by your home country. If you want any visa, residence permit, you will always have to show that you have a valid passport from your home country. And when I say valid, I also talk about the validity, like how long it's still valid. Because you always have to imagine, if you get issued any sort of documentation from Austria that is evidence of your right to stay, work, live in Austria, the validity will not be longer than the validity of your passport. So let's say you apply for a student visa, and this student visa would normally be granted to you for 12 months. But if your passport is only valid for 9 months, that means the Austrian authorities will also only issue the student visa for 9 months because the visa that you get in Austria can never be longer than your government-issued travel document from your home country. So, the next topic I want to cover is health insurance. When the Austrian authorities ask you about health insurance, they want to see that you have insurance that will allow you to see doctors. If you're really sick, you can go to hospital, and that this health insurance will cover all of that. So even if you take up, let's say, a private health insurance, or you have public health insurance from your home country, it must always also cover Austria. So if you only had, I don't know, the health insurance, a private health insurance that you took up in India, and it only covers India, well then, sorry, you're out of luck, because Austrian authorities will of course say, well, that's nice, but it does not help you while you're here in Austria. That's why we cannot grant you the visa or residence permit that you've applied for. Of course, if you come here to work, you must know that every employee by law has to be covered by the mandatory public health insurance anyways. If you come here for work, it will be sufficient if you can say, hey, this is my employment contract. In my employment contract, it says that I will work from, let's say, 1st of June 2020. And that will be then sufficient for the Austrian authorities to say, okay, well, if you're covered by the mandatory public health system, health insurance system anyways, then yeah, well, then of course they will tick the box because you will be covered, and this is the standard Austrian insurance, and that's why, of course, all of the coverage that you normally need will be provided by that. So, as a recommendation, I just really say, if you plan on signing any private health insurance contract with your insurance provider back home, just really make sure that the coverage will be sufficient for the requirements of the Austrian immigration authorities, because it would be really a waste of money if you sign up for a really beautiful, nice sounding travel insurance and then you come here to Austria only to find out, well, sorry, but it does not tick box A and C, only B, and that's why Austria will say, sorry, this is insufficient and you need to get additional coverage. So let's talk about the financial means requirement next. In this part, the Austrian authorities require you to show that you have sufficient steady income or already savings that will allow you to stay in Austria without resorting to social security benefits like unemployment benefits and stuff like that. In practice, actually, this is the most difficult thing to prove for most applicants if they want to get a residence permit or a visa. Because Austria does not only want you to show here, I do have a bank account in my name with XYZ euros or your dollars on it, but they also want you to show the source of this income. So how normally would you show actually that you have all of this money? Well, if you move here for work, then you would show that you have a work contract already, like an employment contract that will say, okay, you, the applicant, will start working on, I don't know, the 1st of June 2020, and this is the amount of money that you will earn from your new job. So if you have that, for instance, that will be a possibility. Or as I mentioned before, if you already have a bank account and the bank account is in your name and you have sufficient funds already at your disposal, then that is something that you can show. Some of the residence permits will also allow you to have a guarantor, and this guarantor will then have to prove that he or she has enough money to guarantee that he or she will cover your financial means while you're here. So how much money actually do you need to show that you possess to the authorities? Well, right now in 2020, if you're a single person, so just you coming to Austria, you will have to show that you are that you're earning, or that you have 970 euros available at your disposal per month just to cover your living expenses. If you're a couple and you come here to live in Austria, let's say you're a married couple, it would be 1,480 euros. And then if you had a child, you would have to prove that you have 150 euros at your disposal per child extra per month. So if you're 2 adults and a child, it would be 1,630 euros that you need to prove that you have at your disposal. Another requirement that you need to fulfill is proving to the authorities that you are legally entitled to housing in Austria. That means you will have to show proof, let's say a rental contract, that shows that you are entitled to stay at a house or a flat in Austria. And this flat or house has to be of a size that would be comparable to a flat or a house that a standard Austrian family would also live in. So you can, for instance, not show a rental contract. Let's say your family has 5 members. If you just showed like a rental contract for just a 20 square meter flat, the authorities would likely say, sorry, this is just too small, because it's just not customary for Austrian families with 5 family members to live on only 20 square meters. So you will also have to find a flat that's big enough for your requirements, or if you're moving here with your family, lodging that suits or that provides enough space for all of you. So just to wrap this up, this is a small video on some of the more relevant general requirements that you need to fulfill in order to come here to Austria, be it on a visa or a residence permit. So it really makes sense that you check before you come here what the requirements are in the application process for whatever you want to do here in Austria, simply to avoid any disappointments when you come here. Of course, you can always shoot me an email, reach out to me if you have any further questions. Other than that, I'd really appreciate if you would like this video, share this video with your friends and colleagues, or comment below. Take care. Bye.